Okay, David. So now that we've done all these calculations, we can agree um, that you've been paying around $316 per month to the utility company for your bill, correct? Yeah, exactly. And have you noticed an increase on that bill over the past years that you've been occupying this property? Yeah. And do you know why why is this increase? The reason for this increase? Like, do you think your consumption has significantly increased over the years? No, right? Yeah, the consumption just kind of stays like stable, correct? Like unless you have a lot of changes in your lifestyle, but it seems like this is not the case. Well, the the reason for this increase is basically that the utility company has been increasing your rates over the years. And this is for two reasons. First reason is inflation. You probably are familiar with the term. It's basically that economy grows, prices grow, and everything needs to keep up with that. So companies just increase prices every year using the inflation as an indicator. But also your bill has been increasing more than the inflation rate. And that's because the utility company is a publicly traded company and they need to maximize shareholders' value. And how do they do that? By increasing profits. Thing is, for utility companies, it's very hard to acquire new customers every year because, as you can imagine, for a utility company to get a new customer, they need to build a new home basically. So it's not the fastest way to acquire customers. And as some smart people like you are have been starting to transition into solar, which means utility companies actually have less customers every year. To offset that, they just increase rates arbitrarily to keep making the profits that they need to keep their shareholders happy. Yeah. Uh, One of the beauties of solar is actually this that you will be protected against these increases. And there are three ways to go solar. The first way is a lease. The second way it's what we call a PPA or power purchase agreement. And the third option is basically ownership, which is owning the system. The lease I really do not recommend because the lease is difficult to transfer and they put a lien on your property. Difficult to transfer. What does this mean? This means if you are in a hurry to get rid of your property for any given reason and you are on a lease, you will not be able to transfer the lease to the new homeowner. And also, if you are falling behind on the payments, they are really likely to put a lien on your property, meaning you won't be able to sell your property or refinance it unless you have cleared that debt. So we can probably cross this one out already because it's really not the best option for anyone. This leaves us with two more options. PPA, which is basically swapping your bill, meaning you will agree with the solar company for them to install the system on your home, and they will just charge you for the power that the system produces. And the ownership, basically, that explains itself. You will be owning the system, and well, basically, that's pretty much it. So, from these two options, is there a preferred way in which you would like to go solar? Like, do you want to own the system or are you just looking to save some money and be price protected? Okay, so you would like to own the system, correct? Great, great. That's a great option. So we will just cross the PPA for now and we will focus on ownership. The main difference or the main advantage, or better to say, of owning the system is the 30% investment credit tax that will be given to you by the government. Um, what does this mean? This means that if you have some hefty tax debt that you have to pay, you will be able to amortize it by 30% of the value of the system that you purchase. Um, the good thing is it can be rolled over for 5 years. So if you don't have the tax appetite right now, but you know that in the future you might, you can still like save it and use it later. Most people decide to just invest this tax credit into their system to amortize the loan's principal, and that way they will reduce the monthly payments for their loan. This is something that is optional. You can always just decide to keep the tax credit and invest it in anything you find suitable. But this is a good option, and you will also have 18 months to decide, so it's not going to be right away. Okay. The other advantage of this loan that we will be offering to you is that there will be no upfront payments, and the loan company will finance your system until it is up and running. So you will have a grace period in which you will not be having to pay anything to them. And when your system is up and running, you will the payments will start to kick in, and you will be able to start paying for it. Mm, so you will have to keep into account that price protection is going to be the main benefit of owning the system, because as you know, interest rates have been going up in the past few years. So savings are not as great as they used to be, but you can still expect a close to 10% saving on your utility bill, which will basically be swapped to a loan bill. Moving on, and this is a very important question. Do you have experienced any blackouts in the past 2 years that you have been living in this house? Oh, okay. So yeah, quite a few. And have these blackouts been like long and inconvenient for you? Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Well, the good thing is that you can be also blackout protected by your solar system. This is a decision you will have to make at this point. So we just want to make sure that you're very informed about it. Mm, Basically, all the standard systems come with a battery, so that way it's called a self-consumption battery, and that way you can benefit from the net metering, and you can benefit from your system not producing power at night, because obviously it's solar power, so at night it doesn't produce power. But with your self-consumption battery, you will be able to use the excess power that you produce during the day at night, ensuring that you will not have to pay anything to the utility company. The thing about this self-consumption batteries is that they are grid dependent. So if the grid goes out due to a blackout, uh, your system will go out as well. Um, in exchange, you can opt for a backup battery, which will have the capacity to keep your home fed with power for the duration of the blackouts. Mm. Do you have any questions about these batteries so far? Okay, okay. That's great. Yeah, everything's clear. Mm, Something that I've been asked quite a few times in this line of work by my customers is that they don't really they are concerned about paying two bills when they opt for solar, meaning they really don't want to be in the situation where they have to pay their loan and they also have to pay for electric bills, obviously. And for us, this is a very important concern, and that's why we will guarantee the production of the panels for 25 years, meaning that we will stand behind our work and we will make sure that the panels produce the power that we said they would produce, so that the customer is never in the situation where they have to pay extra money to the utility company as well as pay their loan payments. Um, to elaborate a little bit more on this, I would like to tell you more about um, the one of the company's main business pillars, which is 100% vertically integration within all the areas of the company. This means that the whole process will be done in-house by W2 employees. This is design stage, installation, engineering, monitoring, ensuring and warranting everything that is related to your system is going to be done by company employees, no subcontracting. Speaking of which, do you know what subcontracting means? Have you heard about the term? Yeah, exactly. It's when you hire somebody else to do the work you're supposed to do. Exactly. And why do you think companies will do that? Exactly, to save some money. The bad thing about subcontracting, or the disadvantage of subcontracting, is that crews work on the job and they get paid by completing the job basically. So they move from job to job, and it's really difficult to actually get quality verification on the work they've done. So that's why we look forward and we ensure that every single stage of the process is made by our employees. So that way we can control that. A testament of this is that we have expanded our operations to 28 states, and we are the third solar installer in the nation. Wouldn't you agree that that kind of growth would only be possible if the company stood behind their work? Uh, yeah, exactly. If you want to grow that big, you really need to have something solid to stand on, or everything will just fall apart. Exactly. Um, One of the strategies we use to ensure this is the way that we train our installers. So basically, what we do is we use a mock roof, which is basically a wood structure with a fake roof mounted on it, and we use that to train our technicians. So that way they just will leave any mistake that they can possibly make on that roof, and they will never step foot on a customer's roof without having experienced what it's like to install a system completely and successfully. Circling back to the production guarantee, um, this is going to be a written guarantee that we will have with you, and it will be like a liability in our books. So what does this mean? Basically, it means that when when the system does not produce the amount of power that we calculated that it would produce. Um, we will be monitoring that, and we will make sure that the issue is attended in a short period of time. But also all the power that is not going to be produced on that time by the system, and that the customer may have to buy from the company. Every 24 months, we will issue a check to refund for those dollars expended on the utility company. Okay, let me show you something. So, okay, so you will say that this is your neighborhood, correct? Yeah, exactly. And we already have 26,700 users on your neighborhood. So why am I telling you this? Because with all this we use all this information from all these happy customers to build the most accurate production estimates. And this is how we can be confident enough to provide this guarantee, because we really know how to operate these panels and we really know how they work. So we know that we can ensure their production, and it's not going to be a liability for us. Not only through experience, because and because but because we use tier 1 rated solar modules, um, which are monocrystalline and one silicon cell, also low profile. What does this mean? These are all black systems that can absorb sunlight in any direction. So that way they will not have to tilt awkwardly on your roof. They can just sit parallel to the slope and be as discreet as possible. These panels also have a degradation factor of around 0.5%. What's degradation? You may ask yourself, and it's a good question. Let's use your cell phone for an example. Have you noticed that when you first bought it, you could just use it the whole day and not charge it, and it would last till nighttime? But now, maybe a few years later, you'll have to charge it midday in order for it to last, for the battery to last. Well, that's basically degradation. Like every single solar electrical appliance has a degradation factor. The good thing about these panels is that it is only 0.5%, which means that over the 25 years that they are warranted, you will experience a very small production output loss on their panels. They're also ceramic coated, meaning they self clean themselves through wind and rain, preventing from preventing them from accumulating lots of dirts and leaves on them that will obviously affect the output. They also have what it's called a micro optimizer on the inverter system. Let me explain what that is. So here you can see maybe your array of panels, correct? Normally they will just have they will be all connected in parallel, and they will send the power to an inverter to convert it from um, direct current into alternate current so it can be run through your home. Thing is, with these systems, when a panel fails or has a problem, the whole system starts to fail and stop producing energy. The good thing is that our systems have micro optimizers, which help individualize every panel from the system. So that way, when a panel is experiencing some sort of trouble, only that panel will suffer the production output loss, and the rest of the system will continue to work no problem. Another advantage of this microinverter um, optimizer system is that most of the time, 97.4% of the time, the issues can be fixed with a factory reset that we can do remotely. So so you will not need to have any service technicians come to your home. Obviously, the service call time frame is still 48 hours, so you can rest easy that if you need a service at your house, you will be receiving it in a very short period of time. Is there any questions so far? Like, you have any doubts about customer service, production guarantee, or anything that we have discussed so far? Okay, great. So let's move on then. Let me ask you something. Wouldn't you say that one of the most important assets that you possess right now is your home? Yeah, of course it is. And this is why we're very careful not only with the system we're providing but also with the racking system we're mounting it on, because the racking system is going to be installed on your roof, and we obviously want to minimize the potential damage that the racking system can cause to your roof. That's why we use uni-rack or iron-rich racking systems, which, by the way, are very durable and can last up to 40 years. Uh, by using these racking systems, we're very confident to also provide you with a 10-year roof warranty on the portion of the roof where your system is installed. So that way we can rest easy that you will not have any leaks or problems caused by the system. And if you do, we will make sure to fix them. So far, do you have any questions about owning the system, what it implies, and all the benefits you will be getting? Okay, great. So now that we stand here, you will agree on me that savings on your bill were not the main reason to go solar this way, correct? It was more the price protection and the grid protection that you want to have, correct? The grid independence for the blackouts. But also, I'm pretty sure you're looking for a really good return on your investment, correct? Yeah, of course. And how can you make sure you are getting the best return on your investment? Well, basically, like getting the best equipment and being backed by the most solid company, correct? And we as a company are so confident that we can provide both things that we also offer the homeowners an appraisal verification for their systems at no additional cost. And because we use the best equipment and we are a solid company that stands behind their work, you will be able to go solar with confidence. And also, when you sell the property, if you are looking to sell in the future, you will be very likely to get a return of about 30% on the system's initial investment. And speaking of selling, because we use this tier 1 equipment and we minimize the cosmetic impact of the system in your home, we are also you will be able to sell the property easier as well. And additionally, we are very careful to minimize the conduit exposure. Have you seen that silver tubes and wirings that are coming out of some of solar systems? Well, yeah, that's the wiring, and we are very aware that that impacts the aesthetics of the homes. So we have created a system to conceal it as much as possible. Obviously, there's some times where it is impossible to conceal it completely, but in those cases, we will make sure to paint them to match the color of the roof, so that way they will be virtually invisible from a distance. Um, After hearing all this, is there any reason why owning the system won't make sense to you? Of course. So we're safe to say that there's no reason why being price protected and grid protected and also save around 10% of your bill won't make sense to you right now, correct? Of course. Of course. So great. Now we can move on to the preliminary design of your system.